Hello neighbors, it's Brad here from eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at installing the eTrailer trailer hitch receiver on a 2025 Hyundai Tucson. Now this is what your hitch is going to look like when it's installed on your Tucson, and having a hitch on any vehicle is a great addition, but on something like this, it really opens it up to bike racks, cargo carriers, or even if you plan on pulling a small trailer, you'll be able to do that. And being that it's a 2" by 2" receiver tube opening means that it's going to be the standard size for a lot of different accessories. You're not going to be as limited as the factory hitch that was on here, which was 1¼ inch. It's not a bad option, but this really opens up to what you can do. And all of the accessories are going to stay in place with a 5/8 pin and clip. Now this is not included with the hitch, but many times when you pick up accessories, they'll have some included and sometimes even locking ones, which if you do plan on leaving your accessory on the back of the Tucson, I would look at a locking pin and clip. It's a good deterrent for anyone that's just walking by. That way they can't take your pin and clip and take your accessory with them. Rolled style safety chain loop, nice and open. It's gonna allow you to hook up those safety cables or safety chains if you plan on towing. So standard S-hook, even our larger clevis style, no problem. And speaking of towing, we're going to want to adhere to the weight capacities of the hitch, but also check the vehicle's owner's manual to see what it's capable of towing and compare that with the hitch capacities. Take the lower ones so you stay safe. And the hitch has some pretty good capacities. It's coming in with a gross trailer weight rating of 3,500 pounds, which is going to be the weight of the trailer, plus the accessories loaded onto it. So you'll be able to cover some small utility trailers, some jet skis, a bunch of different activities. Now, as far as the tongue weight rating, it's going to be 525 pounds. That's the downward pressure on the inside of the receiver tube opening. So that's going to really come down to your bike racks and cargo carriers, basically the suspended weight that you'd have on your hitch. And this is a really nice look overall. It sits a little bit further recessed, and sometimes that can cause issues with folding accessories. So from the center of our hitch pin hole to the furthest point, we're looking at 4 inches. So it's mostly important for bike racks and cargo carriers in the vertical position. You want to make sure that it's able to close without making contact with your rear fascia. And if you want to see how some of those accessories will play ball with the Tucson, feel free to take a look at some test fits on products and you'll see how it interacts with your Hyundai. Now something else that's going to be important is going to be the ground clearance. And this one from the top of the receiver tube opening to the ground is going to come in at 15.5 inches. And that's not really ground clearance as far as, things making contact with the ground. Although if you do have suspended accessories like a cargo carrier or bike rack, it does extend the length of the vehicle. So as you go up inclines, it has the possibility to bottom out. So just keep that in mind when you're on pretty steep terrain or over large bumps. It's mostly going to be important for choosing a ball mount with a trailer. The best way to figure out the proper rise or drop necessary without having to get an adjustable ball mount is to measure from the ground to the top of the coupler of your trailer as it's level, and then compare it with our measurement. From there, you should be able to determine the rise or drop necessary to get the load perfectly level and give you the best towing experience. When it comes to different trailer hitch options for the Tucson, there's quite a few to pick from that we offer. It's not the highest capacity. If you're looking for highest capacity, the Tow Smart really takes the cake on that one. But when it comes to choosing another one, if you've fallen on the eTrailer one, it is my favorite. I'm not trying to be biased, but I get to handle a lot of different brands of hitches, and the matte black powder coat finish on this looks the best. It kind of matches with the factory plastic, but it also holds up the best, I think, to chips and scratches long term. Personal preference, but just kind of my 2 cents as someone that installs these regularly. And speaking of installation, this is a super easy hitch to get installed. You can do this in your driveway or garage, probably about 30 minutes. You might want an extra set of hands. Tool-wise, really all you need is a 17mm socket, torque wrench, maybe a ratchet, and a trim panel tool. Pretty simple though overall, and it's really going to open up what you can do with this hitch. And with that being said, if you're going to be doing this yourself or getting it installed by someone, please let us know what you're doing with it. Send us some pictures of you towing or with your accessories on. We love to see neighbors out in the wild using their hitch. And if you watch the video and decide, well, maybe it's not that bad to do, but you don't have the time, the place, the tools, or even the want to do it, I totally get it. Feel free to reach out to our dealer locator. You can find someone close to you to get your hitch installed. But for you DIYers doing this yourself, follow along. I'll walk you through step by step. Let's get your hitch installed. Now, normally there's going to be an underbody panel that's going to be attached with plastic push pins and then some nuts on the studs here. Since we had the factory installed hitch, that was omitted. And the same goes for when you get a hitch installed. You're going to be omitting that. It's not going to go back in place. It's not going to cause any issues by any means, but clearance of that hitch requires that to be gone. Now, this panel that we have located on the passenger side, you don't have to take it off, but it's going to make it a lot easier to get our hardware in place. So we'll get this removed. It's just going to be 2 plastic push pins, and pretty easy to get these removed. There's going to be slots that will get our tool in place. And that center one should pop out. You can remove the whole thing. We'll get this next one here. And then as you go up, there's going to be plastic nuts on the studs. And a lot of times you can spin these by hand and just kind of pull down. That way that thread actually works itself off. If you really need to, you can kind of just pop these out. So take your time here, but we'll get this panel removed and out of the way for now. What I'd recommend doing is you can just take one of the bolts and make sure that it threads in easy. If you get a little bit of resistance, a lot of times you can spray some penetrating oil in there and use a tube brush and kind of clean that out. But generally, you should be able to get this threaded by hand. If it's severe cases, you can use a tap, but I don't think you're going to have any issues here. So where we're going to be attacking the hardware, one on the bottom, and then there's going to be 2 of them on the side. So one's a little bit further set back than this, and then one's up front. So just run your hardware through. Again, that way when you have the hardware or the hitch raised up, it's a lot easier to feed these in. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're ready to raise up our hitch, and if you have an extra set of hands to help you, it might be worthwhile. What we're going to want to do is have 1 bolt and a conical tooth washer set up on each side, and our goal is to raise the hitch up, get one started. Just a few threads should be enough to support the hitch, and it'll make it a lot easier getting the rest of the hardware in place. So we'll just raise this up, and it's a little tight here by the exhaust. You don't need to lower the exhaust as far as taking off an isolator. If you just kind of pry on it down, should be fairly easy to do. And we'll line the holes that we have. So this bottom one here, that's easy to get to. So I'll thread that in and get one started on the other side. And then we'll just do the same thing with the remaining hardware. So we'll have the ones on both sides of the frame rail. So we'll get them all started. Now, if you're finding that when you raise it up, you can't get some of the bolts started and you can't raise the hitch by hand anymore, there's a few options. If you get the bottom one started, you can snug it down with a 17mm socket and that'll draw it up, allowing you to get those holes lined up. If it's really tight, what you can do is put a floor jack underneath the hitch and just kind of lift it up a little bit, and that should pop it in place. Once you have them all in place, you can start snugging them all down. You don't need to get crazy here, so if you're using power tools, just get it snug. The rest of it will be taken care of by using a torque wrench. As far as torque wrench settings, you're going to find those in the instruction manual. We're going to be using that same 17mm socket to get these all snugged down. And this is an important step. You want to make sure that it's going to be tight enough for the lifespan of the hitch and also so you can tow safely down the road. But too tight, you're going to be putting stress on the weld nuts that have those threads in place, and it's just not going to be a secure connection. So a torque wrench, make sure that you're getting it perfectly tightened down. And if you need one, we have them here available at eTrailer. You can generally go to an auto parts store and rent one for free, but we'll just go through and get all of these torqued down. With everything torqued down, we can put this underbody panel put back in place. And really that's going to do it for the installation of your hitch. All that's left to do is load up your accessories, put in your pin and clip, and hit the road. And that was a look and installation of the eTrailer trailer hitch receiver on a 2025 Hyundai Tucson.